Hello again, welcome back. I'm glad that you can join us again. In our first session, we talked about social media as one of the tools that surgeons can use for their patient care. In the second session, we talked about the three trends. More and more people are on the internet. They have smartphones where they can access the internet in their pockets very readily. And then thirdly, that majority are on social media networking sites, and hence that affects the way they seek health information, the way they look you up, and the way they are finding communities online. So this session is going to be a quick run through of some of the more common social media networking sites. I'm going to go into a bit more details about some of them in the later parts of this talk. So you think that it's only about Twitter and Instagram? The answer is no. This is the number of the options in terms of social media. There's hundreds of social media networking sites, but it can be easily divided into two major groups. Word-based and visual-based. So the word-based social media networking sites or platforms are like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and WordPress. Whereas Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, and Periscope are essentially social media networking platforms that are built around visual images such as pictures or videos. Let's run through them very quickly. So Facebook, everybody knows Facebook. 80% of all adults are on Facebook based on the data. There are three things that you just need to know about Facebook. Number one, Facebook profile, which is personal and private. Facebook page, which is public. And thirdly, Facebook group, which is essentially closed communities, which can be open for anyone to join, or it can be closed and private only for certain people to join. These three are examples of a Facebook page of companies or medical practice groups or even college of surgeons, and they essentially act like a public website where people can visit. These are examples of personal web pages of surgeons. Essentially, there's a question in the past about whether or not you should be friending your patients on Facebook. The very simple answer is you shouldn't friend your your patients on Facebook because that's a profile and you can keep that private. Whereas you can set up a page or a public page where patients can follow you or click the like button to then see your updates, so that each time you update your page, the update appears on your followers or your patients' timeline. There are other uses for Facebook page. Educational pages, radiology, emergency department, pediatrics, lots and lots of associations or communities out there where a lot of information is being shared. And for example, the lower example is a private or close medical dads group that I'm a part of. You cannot find this group when you search for it. It is only by invitation. There's about 200 over doctors in this group. The medical moms group has about 2,000 members. Now, how about patients? Now, patients are obviously finding communities through Facebook. An example, Ear Community, Feeding Tube Awareness Foundation, Tracheostomy Parents Group. These are examples of support groups where patients have been finding a lot of information, a lot of sharing of information, a lot of support. Now you can imagine if you were a doctor who's part of this patient support group, how central your role would be in this kinds of online discussion. So this is very powerful in the way that you assist patients in their journey. In terms of updating Facebook pages, these are the examples. A Facebook page allows you as the doctor and allows your practice to be more personable, approachable. Information is being put out there and very simple advice is put up there, and that can allow patients to just seamlessly go from online search to seeing receptionist in your practice and seeing you as the surgeon, and that rapport has already been created even through prior to visiting you in your practice. So that's Facebook. LinkedIn is a professional, it's almost like a professional Facebook network. You'll probably find lots and lots of other doctors, scientists, speech pathologists, audiologists, and other professionals online, not necessarily patients. The connection that happens here are essentially formal connections or professional connections. It's essentially having your CV and your work experience up online. So you create connections, you follow other people or you friend other people, fellow professionals, and you share information. You're not going to see cat photos or lunch photos in this kind of sessions, and you don't often find patients in this situation. This is to enhance your professional network. And then we move on to Twitter, a very commonly used social media platform nowadays because it provides a very rapid transfer of information in real time. So what happens on Twitter? You follow accounts of people or organizations, and this opens up the options to a breadth of various different things that you can follow. You can follow astronauts, you can follow morticians, you can follow artists, you can follow famous people, you can follow other doctors. And the anatomy of a tweet is essentially 140 characters or letters, and with some attached visuals and hashtags. This way, you can actually follow the hashtags or the topics. For example, med education, the first bar on the left. When you do a hashtag med educations, you can see all the discussions around that topic, med education, that has been put on Twitter. You can follow conferences from afar. The middle bar shows Bethune Roundtable 2016, the last conference that I attended on global surgery. Essentially, all the tweets in relation to that conference are being put up on Twitter. You can follow specific topics such as rhinoplasty, look up ossicles, look up head and neck cancer, social media, or things like thyroid, pediatric airway, tonsillectomy, and other specific topics to your area of interest. And this would list all the discussion around that topic that has occurred on Twitter. You can even tweet your whole presentation or talk through Twitter. What about the reach and the power of Twitter? This is just an example. One of my tweets had 59,000 impressions. That basically means 59,000 people actually saw that particular tweet. Now that's an amazing reach that I would never have been able to achieve just through a traditional media. Total engagement 1,565. So essentially that particular tweet on the left was either retweeted, discussed, commented on, replied to by 1,565 people. Another tweet that I had showing ossicles model on my index finger had 41,000 impressions. Again, these are just examples of the reach and the scope of information sharing on Twitter. When it comes to conferences, the numbers are even more staggering. 3.5 million in one conference, 8.9 million impressions in another. That means there was been 8.9 million times that a particular tweet with regards to this conference was seen. We can go into a lot more details with Twitter analysis, but it's not just a Twitter. But there is a direct messaging or a private discussion. Patients, colleagues, medical students, paramedics, doctors from other hospitals have actually spoken to me and tweeted me directly with regards to certain things. And so the discussion and the engagement that happens around Twitter is amazing, and you can take it quite a distance, and you can actually have a lot of discussion even beyond Twitter through emails and blogging. Twitter just opens up a world of possibilities in terms of networking and engagement. The next discussion, the next platform would be blogging. And there are multiple various different blogging platforms, and all of them are great and full of functionality. Blogging is essentially a two-way medium. The current media right now is using the internet. Current newspapers, for example, is essentially using the internet as information sharing medium. Now, most of the things that you read are essentially articles or blogs written by journalists. You and I are writers as surgeons, physicians, paramedics, and other fellow paramedical specialties. We're essentially writers by nature. We present papers, we write about things, we write summaries, and these things can just be put up on a blog, and that can potentially be a very relevant information that patients look for. Your 250 words on tonsillitis or on thyroid cancer may be seen as more relevant and more useful than blogs written by other sources. Multiple different ways of using the blog, and you can use obviously a blog as a landing page for your practice in a very simple way, where you can provide some basic information about perioperative care, information about nose surgery, ear surgery, sinus surgery, and other things. I've used it in a very simple way, a personal blog, a landing page, and patient information, just 3 pages in one blog, where patients can download very basic information about postoperative care. Moving on to some more pictorial, visual-based images. Instagram, you can look up Instagram. Instagram is basically a photo sharing platform. You can find a lot of information and pictures and videos about health condition or procedures. You can use that as a way of educating your patients. I use that as a simple way of engaging with fellow doctors as well, with some very basic discussion. Pinterest is essentially an internet or online pinboard. You can see simple diagrams can be pinned, and people will follow and repin what you have actually put up. Health diagrams, maneuvers for BPPV, simple perioperative care, description about a particular condition. All these things are great things to pin, and that patients will follow. YouTube, as you know, is a video platform. Lots and lots and lots of videos out there about operations, and a lot of my patients have said that they have actually YouTube their particular operation. So wouldn't it be great if we provide good information through YouTube for patients to see? Periscope is essentially a live broadcast service. For example, this is a patient who have broadcast his surgical journey. Interestingly, these kinds of things are happening more and more commonly, much more commonly nowadays. So don't be surprised if your next patient broadcasts your perioperative care live. And again, these are just triggers for patients to see and to discuss with you. Those are some of the basics. In the next session, we're going to talk about really why should we and why shouldn't we be using social media for our patients. See you in the next session.